I would like to make it very public information that Super Mario World is one of my favorite Mario games ever made. Its perfect pacing, perfect level design, and overall perfect difficulty make this game very hard to put down once you start playing it. However, early on, Mario World did not resemble its final product at all. As a matter of fact, it more resembled Super Mario Bros. 3. So, what happened to that beta of Super Mario World that we were promised so many years ago? Well, it just so happens that a couple of fine folks named the Super Mario World Central, which I believe is a community, Unseen64, and Yoshi Master have been putting together this amazingly made beta recreation, which is what I'm featuring on this episode of Enjoyable Fan Games. A couple of things I want to say to get started off. One, I know this is not technically a fan game per se, it's a hack. However, since it's a fan-created game, I would like to include it in Enjoyable Fan Games, and I'd like to feature more hacks as we go on. And the second thing I wanted to bring up was that I'm going to try not to make this video too much of a history lesson, but with a game like Super Mario World, it's kind of unavoidable because so many things change between the beta and final version. So without further ado, let's begin. First up, we have an amazing title recreation which looks identical to the original one that was shown off in magazines in the early 90s, and it looks absolutely astoundingly like the real thing. And as we move into the game itself, you'll see a lot of changed elements from the final version. Needless to say, this overworld looks completely different to the final version, along with the clouds in the sky which resemble donuts. And as we move further into the level, we notice a couple more changed elements as well. Most notably, of course, being this big coin that I just collected, which takes the place of dragon coins in the early versions of this game. And of course, this jumping green Koopa right here, which takes the place of the normal Koopas that are walking. Speaking of walking Koopas, this one is ripped straight out of Super Mario Bros. 3, which is why the graphic style looks very, very similar. There's a couple more elements in this game that resemble Mario 3, i.e. this Goomba that we just stomped right over here. Unlike the Goombas in Super Mario World, these stomp like the normal games, so you only need to give them one hit to kill them unless they have wings. And as we move even further into the game, we notice these question mark boxes once again ripped straight out of Super Mario Bros. 3. You may also notice the square boxes underneath us that don't appear in Super Mario World as standard walkable tiles. And though they do appear in the final version of Super Mario World, it is not nearly as often as they appear in the beta. Moving swiftly on, we have tiles that resemble ropes in bonus areas, and the normal blocks are discolored slightly from the final game. These were most likely changed early on in development because this Piss Hill Zone color does not look very appealing to the eye. And of course, the biggest change, which is the elephant in the room, is the small Mario, which looks absolutely nothing like the final sprite in Super Mario World. As a matter of fact, this sprite right here is actually the placeholder for the sprite in the top left of the normal map screen. Speaking of the map screen, you may notice that the level names layout is a little bit different, as you see W3-2 over here. It's unclear as to why they were named this early on, however it was recreated successfully in the beta. As we move over to the right, we see one of the biggest changed elements by far, the smashable golden bricks, or brown bricks technically. These were completely removed from Super Mario World in favor of the turning bricks that just turn instead of smash when you hit them from underneath. These were re-added to the beta, and they look absolutely fantastic, and they act just like they did in Super Mario Bros. 3, of course. Now, ignoring the fact that I accidentally shoot it, you can actually see a piranha plant facing upwards, which happens absolutely nowhere in the final version of Super Mario World. There's only 3 stages with piranha plants, and they all face downward. Another neat little feature are the big dino rhinos that spit fire. In the final version of Super Mario World, only the small ones spat fire. And in just one moment, people, you will be seeing my favorite change to the beta of Super Mario World, the addition of the leaf. This was my favorite power-up in Super Mario Bros. 3 aside from the Tanuki suit, and I'm so glad to see it return, even if it is just the beta version of this game. It was recreated flawlessly, and despite the fact that I just got hit with it, it controls exactly like it did in Super Mario Bros. 3. There are many other subtle graphical differences and gameplay differences that were also included, such as the No Yoshi level sign, which basically has the same code as castles, making it so you can't ride Yoshi inside certain levels. This makes the levels a little bit harder, and was removed in the final game for unknown reasons, though I could only assume just because they wanted the levels to actually have a bit of ease to them instead of them being super difficult without Yoshi. This game even utilizes some unused SNES code, which allows you to inject transparent water into a level as long as it doesn't have a background, which is pretty cool. The level design has also been incredibly tweaked to the beta-ish level design. We don't really have any official video of the beta of this game, so they're just going off of screenshots, and I unfortunately suck at all of the castle levels in this beta. However, I implore you to check out this game yourself. The link will be in the description of where you can download the patch, and you're just going to need to use an IPS patcher to get it. It is super fun to play through, and I promise you, you will not regret it. Overall, definitely check out this hack by the incredibly talented people I mentioned earlier. This has been DanRock, and I hope that you enjoyed this new episode of Enjoyable Fan Games. If you did, feel free to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. If not, you don't have to. I'm not going to sue you or any shit if you don't. This has been DanRock. Peace out and take care.